Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. For almost a century, Farm Bureau has been a friend of the farm for all Virginians. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce the wonderful local products we enjoy. Brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Here's what's coming up on this week's show. We look at how uncertainty surrounding tariffs is affecting Virginia agricultural trade. Mark Viette has some tips for keeping your dogwoods healthy. And we'll track Milk's journey from farm to fridge.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Welcome back to Real Virginia, everyone. We're coming to you this week from Cool Lawn Farms in Fauquier County. We'll take you on Milk's journey from the farm to the fridge coming up a little bit later in the show. But first, trade and tariffs are top of mind for everyone involved in Virginia agriculture. Elijah Greil shows us how some farmers are coping with the ever-changing reality.
You've probably heard terms like trade deficit, trade war, and tariffs in the news. These are all important factors in the complex world of international trade, which has a big impact on Virginia's farmers. Virginia's top agricultural export, soybeans, has faced significant challenges due to recent trade disputes.
Historically, our number one exported product has been soybeans. And that's pretty typical for the U.S. exports a lot of soybeans generally. Soybeans go all over the world too. A lot of it has been going to China, and more recently not so much, but in the past, China has been our number one destination for soybeans.
We talked with Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Marketing Director Rob Davenport at the 16th Annual Virginia Agricultural Trade Conference on April 22, 2025.
The two biggest takeaways from these types of conferences that we do is the opportunity to network and to learn. We try and take topics on that are very relevant to our audience, and obviously this year tariffs is one of those.
Tariffs are taxes on imported foreign goods. Recent increases in the level of U.S. tariffs and subsequent Chinese retaliation have erased the value of Virginia's soybean exports there.
China's growing population needs soybeans for food products. They need it for animal feed. The China government announced yesterday that they're halting all imports of soybeans and corn from the U.S. And it's just continually gone downhill. The U.S. is at an 18-year low for soybean exporting. So it's not uncommon for what we're seeing in Virginia itself. We went from $1.5 billion in exports to $230 million. So it's a huge drop. So you can't make that up overnight.
Despite this loss of trade value for soybeans, conference attendee and soybean farmer Hunter Richardson remains committed to the crop.
The planter is filled with seed and we're ready to go to start a new season. Concerned about prices, certainly this year. Certainly there's some concerns and uncertainty about perhaps where the market's going to be as far as profitability. Last year, I was fortunate enough to harvest the soybeans and have them transported down to the port where they were loaded on a container and they were exported to Asia. This year, I haven't made any contracts on soybeans, so it's a little bit uncertain as to where I may be shipping them this year. Kind of waiting for the price to perhaps stabilize.
Richardson says staying focused on his bottom line helps cut through the noise of trade news.
My decisions are made based on cost of production. When the input costs go up, diesel fuel, seed, fertilizer, then that makes me scrutinize how many acres I may plant of soybeans versus shift to a different crop. The second factor that I just consider when making a decision about how many acres of soybeans to plant is the market price at planting.
All the uncertainty has pushed Richardson to explore new crops.
The only way I can handle such is diversify. And I've been focused on that for the last 12 months. I have engaged with cooperative extension. I'm looking at alternative crops, maybe some specialty food bean crops that may allow me to diversify and not be so focused on corn and beans, where there's so much risk and uncertainty.
Seth Meyer, the U.S. Department of Agriculture's chief economist, was a keynote speaker at the conference and says tariffs may also impact input costs for farmers.
In the short run, if you're importing truck parts from China, those are going to appear more expensive. Now, folks will say, well, the objective is not to import so many truck parts. Okay, but that still takes a while to adjust out.
Meyer says that tariffs could have positive effects too.
The main feature here that I think is what we want is to pressure for better access into those markets, whether that's dairy into Europe and Canada, whether it's making sure that our grain flows easily into Mexico and our meat products can go into Mexico, whether it's more transparent grain trade into China.
While trade uncertainty looms, Richardson is excited for a new marketing opportunity the conference unveiled.
The DeLong Company, they announced that they had plans to build a export facility for containers to collect grain and perhaps even feed to export to other countries. And they were going to operate this facility 12 months out of the year, and it was going to be pretty significant.
The Portsmouth export facility is projected to come online in 2026 and have over 500,000 bushels of storage capacity. Davenport says that his team is committed to finding new markets for Virginia's soybeans.
We are aggressively looking at other markets, and maybe some markets that have considered to be non-traditional. Italy, for one, we're starting to work more with Italy and export more soybeans to Italy. So there is opportunity out there, but we have to work a little bit harder and look a little bit better for strategic alliances to then be able to export that product into new markets.
While trade policy evolves by the day or even by the hour, Virginia's farmers and agricultural industry remain committed to providing high-quality and abundant products to markets across the Commonwealth and the globe. For Real Virginia, I'm Elijah Griles.
Virginia's farming story started with agricultural trade in the early 1600s, when John Rolfe shipped tobacco to England. 4 centuries later, tobacco is still a top export, alongside soybeans, pork, poultry, and wood products. These goods flow through the Port of Virginia, the deepest and widest on the East Coast. In 2023 alone, Virginia farm exports totaled $3.6 billion, heading to countries like China, Canada, the UK, Taiwan, and Belgium. Agricultural trade supports jobs, strengthens local economies, and brings Virginia-grown products to tables around the world.
I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, I'm going to talk about how to keep your dogwoods healthy. Stay with us.
Farming is a rewarding way of life, but it can also be full of challenges. If you or someone you know is struggling, call or text the AgriStress helpline at 833-897-2473. It offers 24/7 access to professionals who can support someone in need and help find mental health services in your community. Please make the call, because healthy farms depend on healthy farm families. That's 833-897-2474.
Dogwoods are native to Virginia, but they can decline if not taken care of properly. Mark Viette has some specific tips for keeping your dogwoods healthy in the garden.
I noticed all of these water sprouts, some people from the ground call them suckers, on this dogwood. Now, this is a Chinese dogwood, and it's one of the dogwoods that is resistant to our native dogwood diseases like anthracnose. Usually, this dogwood doesn't have any problems, but I noticed all of these suckers coming from the base. And that sort of is telling me that this dogwood is under stress. So I further looked at this dogwood and inspected it. And what I did find, and this can hurt quite a few trees, Japanese maples, cherry trees, when you prune some of the side branches, you don't leave stubs. There is no way for the dogwood to heal over stubs. Dogwoods have a natural branch collar, which is easy to see. So when you prune this, you don't do a flush cut, but you do a prune cut right to the natural branch collar. And what happens then is that natural branch collar can easily heal over all the branches that you removed and cut. So what I have to do is remove all of these suckers or water sprouts, because what's happening is all of the energy, I mean, the tree has roots that are going out maybe 10, 15 feet. It gets all of that water, all of the nutrients, but all of those nutrients are going into these sprouts and not into the upper part of the tree. And I'm looking here, I can see branches which have died back. So this branch here it's completely dead. It's died back. And my dad works really hard in the garden all the time, but sometimes he's quick at what he does. And so he left some stubs, which I'm gonna have to show him. You know, take your time pruning, be careful. But he left some stubs that didn't heal over, and this branch died. This branch died. This branch has died. And as these branches die, sometimes it works into the main frame of the trunk. And this branch died right here. So what I'm gonna do is show you how to prune, and I'm gonna prune out these suckers. I'm gonna go ahead and start removing these suckers. And it may take a while, but I'm gonna come right in here, and you can see right where the point of the shears is, a natural branch collar. You don't wanna cut right in here. You don't wanna cut close. They call that a flush cut, where you cut against the trunk. I'm gonna leave a little bit, so I'm gonna come right in here, and I'm gonna cut right outside that branch collar, and I'm gonna work on the entire tree. I'm even gonna come up in here and prune some of these dead branches. That one was dead. This one here is alive. And I'm going to work all the way down. And also, I have this, which is for heavy duty cuts. So I'm just going to work here and start removing these natural branch, or right outside the natural branch collars. And I might need this. This pruning is healthier for the tree. Look at the beautiful exfoliating bark. You can notice it now. Join me next time in the garden.
Email your garden questions to viet@viet.com.
Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Coming up on Heart of the Home, strawberry rhubarb compote. We hope you'll stay with us.
Every year, 500 people in the United States die in an all-terrain vehicle-related accident, and another 1,000 people are seriously injured. Sadly, many of those victims are children.
Simple rules for ATV safety are: one, wear a helmet. Have to wear a helmet. The other one is being able to control your speed. All of these relate together. Knowing your terrain, and especially avoiding steep slopes. Steep slopes are the leading cause of overturns.
This message brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau Safety Advisory Committee.
Strawberries are still in season, and Chef Tammy Brawley has a great way to pair them with rhubarb for a mouth-watering summer treat from the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen, and welcome to Heart of the Home. Today I'm going to show you guys a delicious summertime dessert to pair over top of delicious vanilla ice cream. We're going to be using fresh rhubarb and fresh strawberries. Rhubarb is a very interesting, it's actually a vegetable, believe it or not. It is part of the buckwheat family. You can find it in the grocery stores this time of year and possibly the farmers markets as well. It's kind of an unusual vegetable looking, sort of looks like celery, but it tastes nothing like celery. It's used in combination with strawberries all the time. And today I've already chopped up a bunch. We're going to do the same with this last little stalk. And then we're going to put it into a hot pan and let it break down with some strawberries and some sugar and some lemon juice. So we've got this nice and chopped already. Now we're going to hull the strawberry, pull that green off, get that middle core out, do a nice little chop on it. It doesn't need to be a fine chop, not a fine dice. It just needs to somewhat stay thick and chunky, and that's what a compote usually is. So we've got that here. We're going to go ahead and add these ingredients to our pan to my right here. Get this out of the way, be a little easier. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat on, and then I'll squeeze some lemon juice and throw the sugar in there. We've got about a half a cup of sugar or so. And we're going to squeeze some lemon juice. Squeeze it into the bowl to make sure we don't get any seeds. All right, it's about a tablespoon or so. Toss that in there. And then the last little ingredient we're going to add is actually a fresh vanilla bean. I love using fresh vanilla beans. You could use extract if you wanted to, if you don't have any fresh vanilla beans. But I think anytime you can use an ingredient in its form, it just gives you that much more flavor. And what you want to do with this is cut off the ends. We're going to split it down the middle. And then you're going to use the blunt side of your knife, and you're going to come down where you've split it. And what you're going to see is those seeds are going to be on the knife, or they might stay on the pod. That's okay as well. You're going to actually throw the whole pod in there anyway. When you buy fresh vanilla beans, they are very expensive. They are still hand harvested from the orchid family, not the orchid flowers, but they are hand harvested, and that's why they do cost so much. But when you buy them, they should be soft, they should be pliable, somewhat sticky. They certainly should have a lot of smell to them, smells like fresh vanilla. If you do ever buy one and it's hard as a rock, don't throw it away. Put it into a canister of sugar or any of your sugars, and then next time you make cookies, you'll have a vanilla scented sugar to put into your cookies. It's a great way to use up the vanilla beans if they're dry. And now what's going to happen is this is going to take about 10 to 15 minutes. It's going to break down, stay somewhat thick, but it's going to be sweet, and we're going to serve it over top of a bowl of vanilla ice cream. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes. This has broken down quite nicely. What you want to remember is even though I didn't add any liquid to it, the lemon juice and then the strawberries, that produces a lot of liquid. The rhubarb, not necessarily, but after it's cooked down, it does become somewhat soft. You can see here that it is definitely thick, and that's what we want. You can remove the vanilla bean before you actually serve this, but what we're going to do now is we're going to put some vanilla ice cream in a bowl. Your favorite vanilla ice cream is totally fine. This happens to be one that does have vanilla bean in it. It looks like I should have set this out a little sooner. Well, that's okay though. Get that into the bowl. I didn't want it to melt, and I probably should have sat it out a little sooner. Sorry. All right, maybe just a little bit more here. All right, we're going to top that with some of that compote. Some friends had me over to dinner recently, and we did this compote over top of vanilla ice cream, and I fell flat in love. Rhubarb is such a versatile ingredient, especially considering that it's a vegetable. Couple things you would want to know is that when you work with rhubarb, if it does have leaves on it, they are poisonous. Do not use the leaves. Make sure you cut those off wherever you find your rhubarb product. But again, it is so versatile. I've made vodka with it before. I think the New York Times just posted a rhubarb pound cake recipe. So it's delicious. Oh, and I ran into a chef who said he makes his barbecue sauce with rhubarb. So I think that's pretty cool. So there you have it. We have vanilla ice cream topped with a strawberry rhubarb compote. I'm Tammy Brawley with The Green Kitchen. Join us next time on Heart of the Home.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com/recipes, as well as on Chef Tammy Brawley's website at greenkitchenrichmond.com.
Rhubarb is a cool season crop with a sweet and tart punch. According to Virginia Cooperative Extension, this winter warrior needs 500 hours of chilly temps between 28 and 49 degrees before waking up in spring bursting with flavor. Similar to asparagus, rhubarb is a perennial, and its plantings will produce for 5 to 8 years. Rhubarb is successfully grown on many farms in Virginia, though it requires some extra TLC, like straw, for some shade in the summer heat.
Milk is an essential item in most households, and most of us know where it comes from. But how it gets from the dairy to your fridge is less well known. We're going to take you on milk's journey from the farm to the grocery store and show you how you can find out where your milk comes from just by looking at the bottle.
But before we get to all that, we begin at the dairy farm, specifically Cool Dairy in Fauquier County. Ben Smith recently took over from his father in running the dairy, and they've installed a circular automated dairy system.
We decided that the time was here to invest in a new, more modern, efficient milking system, which led us to this 50-stall rotary behind us. We've been very pleased with it. 50 cows can ride the carousel or the rotary at one time.
With concerns over H5N1 bird flu showing up in some dairy cows outside of Virginia, Smith says keeping his herd safe from animal disease is a top priority.
We do have a robotic teat sprayer to disinfect and put a protective coating on those cows' teats before they exit. We've been very pleased with it. We're able to milk 200 cows an hour.
From the carousel, the milk is pumped into this room, where it's filtered twice before it's loaded onto milk trucks.
Every day a milk truck comes and picks up a tanker load of milk from this farm. And then from there they take it directly to the processing plant where it's then pasteurized and homogenized.
Smith says they milk their 890 cows 3 times a day, producing enough milk to fill at least 2 65,000-gallon milk tankers every day. And sometimes 3 milk tankers visit their dairy. From Cool Dairy in Fauquier County, the milk travels to Newport News, where Maola Milk has a processing center.
We're a dairy cooperative. We're owned by our 700 farmer members. Ben and his family are one of those members that ship milk to us, and our job every day is to go to the farm and pick the milk up.
Once the tanker arrives, the milk is pumped into a holding tank. When it's ready, the milk will go through the pasteurization process.
Every tanker load of milk is tested. And it's tested at the farm level, at the plant level, and then at the finished product level as well. I mean, if there is something found, that entire tanker load is dumped.
The facility is operated 24/7, just like the farm. From there, the milk is put into cartons and jugs and loaded into milk crates before getting loaded onto trucks heading to stores, schools, and other places that offer milk, such as prisons, hospitals, and military facilities.
So we've seen milk's journey from the dairy farm to the processing facility, and now here we are at the fridge. One interesting thing that I learned in doing this story was this date label up here also contains a code. You go to the website where'smymilkfrom.com, and on this heading that says find my code, punch in this code under here, 51-4108, and it shows you that this milk was processed at the Newport News facility. In Chesterfield County, Virginia, I'm Burke Moeller reporting.
We're so glad you could join us to celebrate all the bounty Virginia has to offer. From the kitchen to your home and garden to our beautiful wide open spaces, we're proud to say that this is real Virginia. For everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, Thanks for watching. Make it a great week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
We know that farmers don't always get a chance to hear from the folks who use their products in their homes and on their tables. So we visited the State Fair of Virginia to get some thoughts from our fairgoers on what it is that you do and how it impacts their lives every day.
I just want to say thank you to all the guys. We've got some wonderful farmers in Powhatan. We've got probably the best farmers in the world right here in Virginia. And we want to say thank you. We know it's a tough job. It's not a whole lot of big money rollers, but we want to thank you and God bless all of you guys.
I'd be happy to turn around and tell that farmer, male or female, exactly how appreciative I am for all the hard work they do. I can appreciate the ridiculous hours that they have to work and how they're out on the farm for what little return that they get. And I want them to know, I'd like you to know, with how appreciative I am and my family are for everything that we buy local, that we try to do as best we possibly can, whether it's on the beef or whether it's on the vegetables and things that we have when we grow. And I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you very much for all they do.
We have farmers in our family, and we appreciate what you do every day. From the milk, the pork that we use, all the vegetables that we get, we thank you and keep up what you do. We're there for you. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to say thank you for all that you do. I know it's difficult and very tiring, so thank you for having us to eat healthy, nutritious food. God bless you.
We're thankful for our farmers for giving us all of our food, locally sourced, and taking care of this baby's tummy so he can grow really big.
Thank you so much for raising the cows so that I can have milk every day.
Thank you, farmers, for giving me corn to eat. We love farm-to-table food and cows. Thank you, farmers.
Thank you. Farmers are role models to me because they work so hard to get their job done. Their job never ends. It's always at home or at a different location, and they are probably the hardest workers in our country.
Muchas gracias a los granjeros de Virginia.
Thank you, farmers.
Thank you. We appreciate everything you do.
Thank you for all that you do and all the foods that you give us.
Thank you, farmers, for just the produce and so we can eat fresh and clean and so we can stay healthy.
Tomatoes, peppers, and strawberries. I want to be a farmer when I grow up. Thank you, farmers.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.